Hello guys, welcome back to the course. In this video, we are going to map the infectious disease per county. So as usual, I'm going to display the first 5 rows of the dataset. So I'm going to type in data.head. Okay, so I'm going to hit compile. As you guys can see, these are the first 5 rows of our dataset. So in this video, we are going to do the mapping, alright? So we're going to display the top disease with the highest count for each county, alright? And not only that, we're also going to visualize the data using Heatmap. But before that, we will need to import Seaborn. So make sure that you import Seaborn first. So import Seaborn as SNS, right? And let's hit recompile. Okay, so now let's add another block of code. The very first thing that we're going to do here is to find out like how many counties in these data sets, right? So I am going to create a variable called count county. So we are going to figure out like how many counties exist in these data sets, right? Okay, so we're going to have data, and inside this bracket, I'm going to copy and paste this column's name because we want to count like how many counties. Dot unique, right? And we're also going to print it. So we're going to print it down here. F number of counties. And I'm simply just going to copy and paste this and put it inside here, right? Okay, so I'm going to hit compile. As you guys can see, in these datasets, we have 59 counties. So it is a lot. All right, so now let's do the analysis, guys. We're going to do the mapping, all right? Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do here is to group the data by county, and we're also going to aggregate the values, right? Okay, so I'm going to create a variable called group data. Okay, so if you remember, we created this variable in the previous video, so it is going to be very similar, guys, right? But instead grouping the data by the sex column, we're going to group the data by the county and disease column, alright? Okay, so we're going to have data.group by like this. And inside this bracket, we are going to have 2 columns, county and disease. So I'm going to copy and paste this, alright? And I'm going to put it inside this bracket. And I'm going to copy and paste this column's name, and I'm going to put it inside this bracket. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is to add AGG. So AGG stands for aggregate. Okay, so inside we are going to have 3 columns, count, rate, and populations, because we want to display those 3 columns, right? Okay, so you might be wondering like, what are we going to do here? Okay, so let me explain a little bit before continuing to the code. So basically, we're going to display each county with the top disease, like the highest recorded disease for that county. We're also going to display the populations and also the rate for that particular disease. That's what we're going to do, right? Okay, so now let's continue, guys. So here we're going to have count, all right, which is this column. And we're going to have sum, right? And the second one is going to be rate, which is this column. And we're going to have mean. And finally, the last one, we're going to have population. So I'm going to copy and paste that. All right, so we're also going to have a mean here, so you can copy and paste this, all right, and put it here. And the last thing, we're going to have reset index like this. Okay, so we're done, but as you guys can see, we made a minor mistake here. So instead of county and county, it is double. So we're going to replace county with disease. Okay, so we're going to replace county with disease. All right, here we go, and I'm going to hit compile. Okay, so as you guys can see, we got an error here. So let me fix it really quick. Okay, so let's hit compile. Okay, so actually we forgot and, so populations with and. I'm really sorry guys, I made a mistake again. Okay, very cool, it works. So now let's add another block of code, and we are going to find the top disease per county based on count columns, right? So I'm going to create a variable called top disease per country, like this, top disease per county. Okay, so we're going to assign value to this variable. So we're going to use group data, which is the one that we already created up here, and we're going to use log, all right? And inside this bracket, we are going to have group data. So just copy and paste that, and we're going to group it by the county. So inside this parentheses, we're going to have county, all right? So just copy and paste this, because we want to group it based on the county, right? And we are also going to have count. So just copy and paste these columns name, all right? Count. Put it inside this bracket dot id max. You might be wondering, what does this line of code do? So we're going to find the top disease with the highest count for each county. That's what we are going to do in this case. Before running the code, I forgot to fix this, guys. So it needs to be idx max, not just id max, right? So make sure that you add x here, idx max. And now let's hit compile. Okay, it works. So now let's add another block of code, and we're going to print it, all right? So I'm going to type in print, and I'm going to copy and paste this variable, top disease per county, and I'm going to put it inside this parentheses. And in total, we are going to print 5 columns: county, disease, count, rate, and populations, right? Okay, so I'm too lazy to retype it one by one, so I'm just going to copy and paste it from here. So we have county, disease, what else? Count. So I'm going to copy and paste it from here. What else? Rate and populations. Okay, so now I'm going to hit compile, guys. Okay, as you guys can see, this is the output that we got. As I mentioned previously, there are 59 counties in these data sets. That's the reason why, as you guys can see, the output is so long, right? So let me teach you how to read these data. So for example, for this county, Alameda, the top disease is Chalamdia, right? So this is the disease with the highest count, 171,194, and this is the rate, which is very high, 404.8, and the populations of these county is 9.9 million. All right, so that's how you read these data, guys. Okay, so now we're going to visualize the data using Heatmap. So make sure that you already imported Seaborn, because we're going to use this library, right? Because when you're seeing this data, it's kind of hard to understand like what's really going on here. So it's going to be better if we visualize the data using Heatmap, right? It's going to help us to understand the pattern or the trend in the data. Okay, so I'm going to add another block of code, and we are going to create the Heatmap. Okay, so I'm going to create a variable called Heatmap, like this. Heatmap data, all right? Heatmap data. So I'm going to copy and paste these variable. So this is per county, and I'm going to use pivot, right? So we're going to use this to like map the data based on the county, the disease, and the count. So I'm going to like copy and paste this column's name, county. So I'm going to copy and paste this, right? I'm going to put it inside this parentheses, and we're also going to have disease and count. This is like how many cases recorded. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is to have plt.figure, right? plt.figure. For the fig size, I'm not really sure if this is going to work. If it doesn't, I'm just going to change the number, but now I'm going to go with 12,8. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is to utilize the Seaborn library. So sns.heatmap. Okay, inside this parenthesis, we're going to have heatmap data, which is the variable that we already created up here. All right, so just copy and paste that. For the anode, we're going to set it to be true. All right. For the FMT, we're going to have 0.0f. Okay, so this is actually just going to make like the heat map beautiful. If you don't want it, don't do it. That's completely fine. It's totally up to you, right? And we are also going to have CMap. This is just to like customize the appearance of the heat map, guys. So we're going to have Y, I, G, and B, U. This is kind of like the code. So if you are not really familiar with Seaborn syntax, don't worry guys, you can look this up on Google. It's very easy to find. And the last thing that we're going to have is Seabor. So Seabor underscore KWS. It's going to be label count. Okay, so down here we are going to add the title, so plt title. So in this case we are using matplotlib and Seaborn at the same time, all right? So we need to add the title so people understand like what does this heat map actually represents. So the title is going to be top disease per county, right? We are displaying the top disease for each county. Okay, and finally, this is the last thing that we need to do, plt.show. And before running the code, I just realized that we made one mistake. So this is not I, this is supposed to be L, right? Okay, so now let's hit compile. As you guys can see, this is our heat map. Look at this, very cool, right? So let's scroll up a little bit. You might be wondering why there is only one disease appear here, all right? And that disease is chlamydia, right? Okay, so let's scroll up a little bit. Let me show you. When you print like the top disease for each county, like every single one of them is chlamydia. Look at this. For Alameda, the disease is chlamydia. For Alpine, the disease is chlamydia. So like every single one of them is chlamydia disease, guys. So that's the reason why when you see the heat map, there's only like one disease showing up. So this is pretty surprising to me, because in this case, all 59 counties have the same exact top disease. So like every single one of them has the same top disease, which is chlamydia, right? Okay, so now let me teach you how to read this heat map. So for example, we pick this county, Alameda. As you guys can see, there are 171,194 chlamydia disease recorded on this county, right? So that's how you read this heat map, guys. Yeah, this is pretty surprising because I thought that every county has, you know, different top disease, right? But it turns out that every single one of them has the same exact top disease, chlamydia. So I guess the public health policymakers should pay very close attention to this disease, because like all counties have the same exact disease, chlamydia, right? Okay, so I think that's it, guys. That's all you need to know. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.